Let's talk about walk cycles. So in our orc scene, for this first big block of time, we need to have the orc walking. To do that, we're going to create a walk cycle. A cycle is a series of frames that you can loop to create a repeating action. So we just need to animate 2 steps of the walk, and then we can cycle those steps to cover the time and the distance in our scene. Walk cycles are traditionally a big part of learning character animation, so let's look at them more generally before animating our orc. When you're analyzing or inventing a walk, there are really only 4 poses that you need to focus on. This first one is called the contact pose. Here we have one for each foot. This is the point at which the front leg touches the ground, but isn't bearing the weight of the body yet. The next pose is the passing pose, and it comes between the contact poses. This is the point where the back leg passes and becomes the front leg. Then, between the first contact and the passing pose is the down position. This is where the front leg has taken the weight of the body. Then, between the passing pose and the second contact is the up pose. This is where the back leg is pushing the body up to let the other leg swing forward. From there, it's just the same poses with the legs reversed. And at that point, we're back where we started, and the cycle is complete. So it's these 4 poses, the contact, the down, the passing pose, and the up, that define the walk. The other frames are just in-betweens. Now, depending on the character and the type of walk, these poses might look radically different, and the timing between them can vary. But these are the 4 poses that give a walk its character. So when we look at our reference, these are the poses we want to find and get right. So back in our orc scene, we're going to plan out the walk in detail. Here's our reference again. Let's find a nice contact pose to use. This one at 4 seconds and 10 frames looks good. Remember, this video is 30 frames per second, so that's 4 1/3 seconds. Then let's find the next contact pose, and we'll get the time between them. It's at 4 seconds 28 frames, which is almost 5 seconds. Let's just go ahead and call it 5 seconds. So 4 1/3 seconds to 5 seconds would be 2/3 of a second for one step. On our timeline, which is at 24 frames per second, that would be 16 frames for the step. So the first contact is on frame 1, and I'll put the next one on frame 17. Remember, I'm going to round these poses to an odd numbered frame because I'm going to be drawing on 2s. Then let's find the passing pose. Here it is at 4 seconds 20 frames. So that's exactly 1/3 of a second past the start, which would put it exactly in the middle. So that's frame 9. Then we'll do the same for the down. Again, it looks like that's exactly halfway, on frame 5. And then the up pose. It's a little different because we cheated that second contact pose. But let's just say it's halfway too, on frame 13. So now that we have that all noted, I'm going to go in and draw poses for the character based on the poses in the video. I'm obviously going to have to adjust it to match the orc's proportions. And as always, I'm going to adjust things to make the silhouette as strong as possible. I'm going to work in passes and focus on just the body and legs first. Then I'm going to go in and put in the arms. And finally, I'm going to go back and focus on the swing of that club, Then I'm going to do the next set of poses for the second step. I'll mark out on the X sheet where the poses go. I'm just going to use the same timing as the first step. And now I'm going to do a pass for his hair. Now I need to fill in the in-between drawings. So now we've got all the frames we need for the walk, but we can't cycle them like this. I'm going to define a center line and then shift all the drawings so that the hips are over the center line. Now if I loop this animation, you can see we have a walk cycle that can run indefinitely. To use this walk cycle in our scene, I'm going to cycle these frames 4 times. That will get us close to the time we want. Then I'm going to animate the layer that the character is on to move them across the screen. It looks like this frame of our walk cycle is the one we really want to match up with our trip. I'm just going to slide all these frames on the timeline forward to match. That's going to leave a gap at the start, so I'm going to fill in those frames with the right ones from the walk cycle. So now he's moving, but it looks like he's kind of skating on ice. That means we have to adjust the speed that he moves across the screen so it matches the speed of his walk. To fix that, we need to change the distance that he covers. Since we have his end position right, we want to adjust his starting position. Then I just check to see if he's still ice skating. It takes a lot of guess and check to get this right. We just need to zero in on the right point we want. There, let's check it out. Okay, that's it for the walk cycle. The next step is to animate the trip and fall and the getting up. I'll go over that in the next video. I'll walk you through the process and talk a little bit about the animation principles and how I'm applying them. I'll see you there.